We have an update on the AEW Collision Brand Split. Plus, WWE Fiend return rumours may have been debunked. And a classic gimmick match has been added to Impact Wrestling against all odds. It's all in the wrestling news right now. The AEW roster set to be cleft in twain via the power of a brand split. Little bit of news on who might be landing where for your Thursday afternoon flavoured wrestling news.
So, make of this what you will, but Wrestling Revolver have announced that Jon Moxley is going to be there at their June 17th show in Moxley's home state of Ohio. June 17th, very important date. So it looks like Moxley isn't going to be on that debut episode of Collision.
Or at Auntie Belinda's birthday party. She'll be so upset.
Tragic. Also announced for that show, Roderick Strong and the freshly heel-turned Takeshita also scheduled for the event, meaning it looks like they're not going to be part of Collision's debut either. So that very much indicates what I think a lot of people suspected, at least that the BCC and the Elite stuff will continue over on Dynamite.
Yeah, you would assume that if people were going to be part of the Collision roster, they'd be told to keep June 17th free, you would assume. So I guess Takeshita, Moxley and Roddy going to be staying on Wednesdays.
Roddy's an interesting one, because does that extend then to Adam Cole?
I would have thought
Kyle
so.
When he's good?
Yeah, I'd have thought they keep Adam Cole and as you say, when he's healthy, Kyle O'Reilly on Wednesday nights as well, I presume with Jericho and the Appreciation Society over there. And it kind of gives you an idea as to...
You don't think Jericho's going to be over with Punk? He's desperate to work with him.
Actually,
stay relevant.
That's a good...
Attach himself.
He used to rap for the hell of it. Nowadays, we're rapping to stay relevant. Actually, no, he's pretty much finished up with Cole now. So maybe this is where you move over to Collision and have some of those bigger names at the top. I wonder whether... Look, the more I think about it, whether Collision's going to be a younger roster on the whole. We know that Thunder Rosa's in there and Samoa Joe's in there and Miro and Andrade, but I wonder whether the bulk of it then will be younger talent.
I don't know. I'd like to see a mix. I'd like to see a lot of variety on both shows personally, but yeah, maybe. Maybe. Punk, obviously, famously 22 years old, I think he turned last year. And...
Spry youngster Chancery Montgomery Punk headlining the June 17th AEW Collision in his hometown of Chicago, along with a few other wrestlers, but it won't be Moxley, Takeshita, or Roddy Strong by the looks of things. It also looks like we won't be seeing The Fiend back if this debunking is set to be believed.
Yeah, so there's been all sorts of rumours about Bray's potential return. One rumour is, it's been making the rounds this week, the WWE is bringing Wyatt back as the Fiend. However, the person who makes the Fiend masks seemingly has shot that down on Twitter. Jason Baker, wonderful Jason Baker, saying that might be a little difficult considering that all of the mask molds were destroyed last year. Right, we could sit here and talk about the Fiend and the direction of that character, the previous booking decisions. I want to know what absolute fool destroyed something that people would pay tens of thousands of dollars for. Why would he do that? I'd have one of those.
I'd happily have one of those, thank you very much.
It's like with the BBC and all of the old TV places. They reuse the tapes, tape over all the classics and everything.
Criminal.
And then Jim Cornette found a big box of VHS from like Smoky Mountain or something out the back once. What are you doing? eBay's going to... What are you playing?
Joe's in there. Flipping Fiend mask.
Right.
How did that get in there, Corny? I'll tell you what. It's an interesting question. It could be a number of reasons why, to stop it being stolen and then recreated against the wills and whims of the maker. It could be to make it unique, but then they do sell replicas. Or this could be a little bit of silly buggery in the sense that the original Fiend mask has been destroyed, the mold. I'll say they might make a slightly new one.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I'm not going to say I could do it, but...
You could do it.
If you can make a mold once, you can make a mold again, can't you? So I wouldn't read into this too much. Better Wrestling Experience, the insider on Twitter, of course, who reports on a lot of WWE scoops, recently said that Bray's Fiend return is very much up to management and Bray himself.
Not a lot of love for what he finished up doing earlier in the year from behind the scenes, to put it lightly. And there is a push for him to come back as the Fiend and do something a bit more in that ilk. And as I said yesterday to Jack, I said what we've learned is, I think if Vince McMahon's creative controls the Fiend, that is a hide into nothing squeaky table. Won't do it again. And then to give Bray Wyatt full autonomy, that doesn't seem to be the way forward either. So you need a bit in the middle. You need a little filter system.
I don't want to see the Fiend come back personally, because I think it It means that they ended up booking themselves into a corner. It's really, really difficult for his opponents to shine in Fiend matches as well. Like, a lot of people were damaged. It wasn't just Bray that I think was damaged by the Fiend. It was a fair few of his opponents. I don't want to see him back. I'd be happy with Cult Leader Bray again, to be honest.
Yeah.
It worked. He could do with a few more wins this time around. He had a terrible win-loss record, but that's the most that I've enjoyed Bray Wyatt, both on the main roster and in NXT. I think the Cult Leader thing really has legs.
The thing with Bray Wyatt, I find, with all the creations, is that it's always an impeccable first chapter. And then the book sort of wanders off as the pages turn. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it's having that focused energy of like, this is and it goes against the idea of what Triple H says, oh, these stories never end. But I think with a character like The Fiend, you have to have a definitive start, middle, and end point. You have to. And like, have it just for a short amount of time, but have a very definite ending planned before you even bring him back out again. Because I really got the vibe. I'll tell you what hurt The Fiend last time, was not having a pay-per-view between Survivor Series and Royal Rumble. Mm-hmm. Because you just had weeks and weeks of them just dragging out the LA Knight stuff to the point where people went, this is nothing. Yeah, there's nothing here. Wasn't. And then when what happened, it was prime for rib.
Agreed.
And it was.
Agreed.
A return is on the horizon for an AEW star. Layla Hirsch has been out for well over a year at this point, and Fightful Select say that her ACL recovery has gone exceptionally well, and she is getting ready for an in-ring return. I am buzzing to see Layla Hirsch back in the ring. I think she's brilliant.
She's good. Good technician.
Yeah. Like a powerhouse.
Yeah, quite small in stature, but
yes,
built.
Strong build that'll just throw you around.
Yeah.
And one of the last big moments she had was a win over Chris Statlander.
There you go. Writes itself, doesn't it?
It writes itself. Statlander and Hirsch for the TBS title.
She was largely on like Dark Elevation, because that was a match on the buy-in for Revolution last year, wasn't it? It was like the pre-show. So it'd be good to see her on TV, good and proper. Maybe it'll all line up and she can come back and be a part of the Collision roster when that. Nice.
If she goes to the Collision roster, I think that moves her away from a possible feud with Chris Statlander.
Oh, we don't know.
Because obviously the TBS title.
No, you're right. So
it
that
would be
one's
funny.
Very much obvious, isn't it? Yeah,
it would be funny. But hey, who knows? Anything can happen in the World AEW Federation, including possibly a voice of AEW maybe stepping away.
The voice, as far as I'm concerned. Tony Schiavone responding to rumours that he had a lifetime contract with AEW on the latest episode of What Happened When. He said, that's a flipping lie. Unless my life ends by April of next year. Oh. So Tony Schiavone's contract expiring April of next year, not when he sadly passes away.
I was going to say, what do you know? Schiavone says it's not a done deal that he'll be with the company beyond April. He says there's no guarantee that they're going to re-sign me. There's no guarantees on that at all. But that's how I approach life. No guarantees. Klondike Bill told me one time, the job is a day-to-day thing, Tony, and that's how I approach it. It'd be foolish if they didn't keep him around.
Yeah,
he's been great.
I think he's been fantastic. Yeah, it really has been. And I would say that he's a bigger personality than his WCW days as well. He feels like, obviously he was a part of the show back then, but he feels like quite an important part of the show at this point. I've always loved his commentary. I think he's brilliant, but his interactions, largely with heel wrestlers on the roster, have been great, haven't they? He's just done some really fun stuff. I'd be gutted if he left.
Yeah, I'd keep him there. Or do you think maybe WWE would extend something to him? Maybe a Legends deal.
Like younger. Maybe.
I don't think it would be to have him as a commentator.
Replace Booker T. Replace Booker T on NXT. It'd be banging. I'd be gutted because I don't watch NXT week by week. But I might do for Tony Schiavone. Get rid of Booker.
You should. I like Booker commentary. I like the part where he orders his dinner halfway through the event. I get it. Sometimes you're hungry. Impact Wrestling giving us a lovely bit of dinner here with the return of a classic gimmick match against all odds.
That's right. Following their crazy brawl last week on Impact, Masha Slamovic will meet Killer Kelly against all odds in a dog collar match.
These two are going to rip each other asunder, and I am here for it.
They're great, aren't they?
Slamovic is amazing. She is a force of nature on the indie scene, and to see her popping up in Impact Wrestling has been amazing. I'm gobsmacked they've not given her the Knockouts title yet. But then she'll get there, won't she? Yeah. But then Killer Kelly turned up, and I was delighted because Killer Kelly, I was delighted. She reached out to me when she said, "Oh, I've just announced with Impact. Should we do that interview now?" So there's a lovely Des Desert Island Graps I did with Killer Kelly just after the announcement of her debut at Impact Wrestling, and she's brilliant. Again, like a similar energy to Masha Slamovich. Ready to see these two go. While you're here, speaking of Impact, your thoughts on the 8-4-1 match, the 8-man tag that then becomes a fatal 4-way with the winning team, and then the 4-way with one winner who gets a title shot at Slammiversary.
I like it.
It's all right, isn't it? That's the 8-4-1 match. The other match is against all odds.
I haven't been following. Totally exposed me there. I'll catch what I can, mate.
Who's winning the 8-4-1 match? Is it Sizzle Monty Jig or the Rampaging Lions?
I think you're making those up. So
How dare you? How dare you?
I'll check it out. I'll check it out.
Rampaging Lions for the win. Let us know in the comments. Is it Sizzle Monty Jig or the Rampaging Lions on the 8-4-1 match against all odds?
Say love you, bye. Come on.
Love you, bye. Come on.